Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the eRobot Prize. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. We're going to give folks a second to get settled. All right. Hello and welcome to the informational webinar for the eRobot Prize. My name is Emily Evans and I am from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. And it's my pleasure to be joined today by Sven Mumme, Sam Petty, and Mary Hubbard from the U.S. Department of Energy Building Technologies Office. While folks are getting settled, we're going to go ahead and kick things off with a short video about the eRobot Prize. We're just queuing up that video. Give us just one moment.
Affordable, comfortable, environmentally friendly, and superior energy performance. That is the future of buildings. Buildings are the largest sector of the U.S. energy economy, with more than 126 million buildings spanning the United States. They use 74% of our nation's electricity, account for 39% of total energy use, and 35% of CO2 emissions from energy consumption, more than any other sector in America. In terms of energy and climate, buildings present a big challenge. Fortunately, necessity is the mother of invention, and new innovations hold promise for cutting costs and preserving our planet. Available retrofit technologies and approaches could significantly cut an average building's energy use, but only a small portion of existing buildings undergo envelope retrofits. Increasing our envelope retrofit rates and reducing energy use in the existing building stock by just 20% could save up to $80 billion per year in energy bills. But many obstacles stand in the way of these upgrades. For one, today's envelope retrofit products and processes are not only disruptive to homeowners and building occupants, they can also create health and safety hazards for construction workers who frequently need to access tight spaces. So, how do we deliver envelope improvements with less pain and more gain? Enter the American-made Buildings Prize called eRobot. Launched by the Department of Energy's Building Technologies Office, the eRobot Prize calls on innovators to use robotics to develop minimally invasive, low-cost, and holistic building envelope retrofit solutions. We are counting on you to make retrofits safer, faster, more convenient, and more reliable. This two-phased program provides a total of $5 million in cash prizes and support to competing teams and network partners for solutions that create greater job opportunities, improve safety and efficiency for workers, and reduce building retrofit costs. Have an idea? Join the American-made Buildings Prize eRobot today.
Thank you, Sam, for sharing that video. If you can go back to the agenda, if you can go back to the agenda slide, please. Thank you. And next slide when you get a moment. So like we said, we are so excited that you're here today. We're so excited to talk to you about the eRobot Prize. Thank you for joining this informational webinar. Our agenda today is we will cover the American-made challenges and network overview. We'll provide an overview of the eRobot Prize. We'll talk about eligibility, phase 1 contest submission elements. Then we'll follow that with a live HeroX demo. That's where we run all the day-to-day logistics of the prize. And then we'll close up with a Q&A. Next slide. A couple of housekeeping reminders before we officially get going. This webinar is being recorded and we will be making it available later on. You'll be able to get to the recording from HeroX, which we will demo later. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. If you'd like to submit a question, type it into the chat box. that will also be actively monitored throughout the webinar today. And if you are experiencing any technical issues, check your audio settings under the audio tab. And if you continue to experience issues, we suggest that you contact Zoom. Their help number is on the screen here. Next slide. So let's kick things off today with a brief overview of the American Made Challenges and the American Made Network. Next slide. The American Made Challenges program was developed to help energize American ingenuity and empower innovators to create groundbreaking energy solutions and turn ideas into reality in a matter of months instead of years. The American Made Challenges program achieves this goal by connecting teams with knowledge, resources, and access to experts in their field to rapidly transform ideas into prototypes and beyond. In addition, the program connects participants with DOE national laboratories, incubators, accelerators, and other facilities through the American Made Network to further support their innovations. Next slide. Here you can see a screenshot of our AmericanMadeChallenges.org website. The American Made Challenges program is proud to host the eRobot Prize, and we encourage all of you to check out our other prize programs on our website. New prizes are added frequently, so be sure to check back often. Next. Our American Made Network is growing and getting stronger every day. We currently have more than 130 network partners representing 31 states. We are also proud to connect our teams to 17 DOE national laboratories to enable them to get access to staff, resources, and laboratory space that are traditionally very hard to get. We are always looking for new connectors to join our network. So if you're in the audience and interested in helping our team succeed, we would love to have you join. Just go to our website and follow the links to connect with us. Next slide. We get the question a lot, well, how is this different from the typical government grant process like a FOA or an SBIR? And essentially what the prize funding model does is it shortens and reverses the typical grant government funding award process. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a typical financial award process where the awardee must first undertake an extensive approval and planning effort before they can begin performing. And then they ultimately receive reimbursement for their efforts following performing and submitting relevant reports. On the prize award process, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, you begin performing immediately, and then you submit a completed submission package, which is scored, and winners receive payment for work previously already done. A key aspect of the prize award model is that once you win, there are no performance deliverables tied to the cash award that you receive. Again, the cash award that you receive if you're selected is for work that is previously done. So there's no deliverables, there's no milestones, it is straight cash in your pocket. Now, we hope that you'll use that money to advance your innovation and advance within the contest, but it's entirely up to you how you spend those funds. Like I said, there are no deliverables or reporting post-award. We've actually had teams say that the cash award that they received as a prize had much, much more value to it because there was so few reporting and deliverable milestones. Next slide, please. Great, and now we'd like to cover the eRobot prize overview and eligibility. And for this, I'm gonna hand it over to Sven Mume. Sven, off to you.
Thank you, Emily. So hello, everyone. I'm Sven Mume, and I'm a technology manager at DOE's Building Technology Office, leading the Building Envelope R&D program. So I'll provide an overview of the eRobot prize, what our objectives are, and what solutions we're hoping to catalyze. Next slide, please. So the eRobot prize is made up of 2 phases that will fast-track efforts to identify, develop, and validate disruptive solutions for building envelope retrofits. So each phase will include a contest period when participants will work to rapidly advance their solutions. And we invite anyone, individually or as a team, to compete to transform a conceptual solution into product reality. The eRobot Prize will provide a total of $5 million in cash prizes, awards and support to competing teams and network partners. These contests are supported by the American Made Network that Emily mentioned before, which engages America's energy incubators and investors, universities, our 17 DOE national labs, and others to help participants achieve their goals. We'll dive into both aspects, but we'll start with the prize itself first. Next slide, please. So eRobot stands for Envelope Retrofit Opportunities for Building Optimization Technologies. Through this prize, DOE will stimulate technological innovation, reduce building retrofit costs, create a faster retrofit process, ensure consistent high-quality installations, and improve overall energy savings of the built environment. Next slide, please. So the building sector consumes more energy than any other sector, including the transportation and industry sectors, resulting in energy bills of American households and businesses exceeding $400 billion per year, as was articulated in the initial video. The Building Technology Office is working hard to reduce building energy usage. Yet to maximize these energy savings, new technologies and approaches must be suitable for retrofitting existing buildings, particularly in the residential sector, where by 2050, nearly 2/3 of the building stock will still be composed of existing buildings built before 2018. And commercial buildings turn over somewhat faster, but even then, in 2050, about 40% of the square footage existing in 2018 will still remain. The average building age is approximately in the overall building stock about 40 years old. So they are definitely not high performing. So although available retrofit technologies could cut building energy use in half, only a tiny portion of existing buildings actually undergo high efficiency envelope retrofits. A major barrier to the adoption of these retrofits is that currently available retrofit approaches can be particularly disruptive in existing occupied buildings. Also, with other, unlike other building equipment that is replaced periodically, like water heaters or even HVAC, due to failure, building envelopes are much less frequently altered. More common changes such as re-roofing or residing rarely result in improved energy performance. So to tap into the potential for substantial energy savings from envelope retrofits while improving durability and occupant health and comfort, building owners need affordable, less disruptive alternatives for improving building energy performance. Also, the cost of envelope retrofits is directly related to the disruption of building occupants, as well as the scale and complexity of teardown and reconstruction of an entire building envelope. So these factors contribute to a significant on-site labor effort that can be required to complete an envelope retrofit project, and thus the overall project cost. The envelope generally includes many detailed elements and interfaces which require special attention that can significantly add to the cost and increase the probability of errors that leads to below design performance. Among other approaches, these challenges might be addressed by developing ultra low-cost approaches that incorporate robotics or other advanced methods or tools that are non-destructive or minimally invasive to eliminate disruption to occupants during the retrofit. So tools, materials, components, platforms developed for other applications outside of the building space possibly could be directly applied to envelope retrofits, or they might offer insights into how challenges specific to the envelope can be best addressed with new approaches. So for example, minimally invasive surgical techniques have transformed the practice of surgery, reducing pain, scarring, recovery time, and other risks to patients. But minimally invasive methods could similarly transform the cost, market acceptability, quality, and performance of envelope retrofits. A wide range of such advanced methods might be relevant to buildings, including advanced robotics, sensors, and hardware and software solutions and automation. Just to take that analogy a little more, think about how open heart surgery was done, decades ago. Hip replacements and knee replacements. Now there's tiny little incision. The way those surgeries were done before, that's how envelope retrofits are still being done today. Yet, fast forward to now, you got tiny little incisions for hip replacements and knee replacements, and that's the type of innovations that we're hoping to bring to the building sector. Next slide. As I mentioned previously, the prize consists of two phases. In phase one, teams are expected to present an innovative idea that solves a new industry problem for building envelope retrofits. Experts from both the robotics and building industries should inform the concept and design. This phase is focused on proving that the solution solves a critical building envelope need, developing a concept and design, and forming a team that is capable of achieving its success. Competitors may focus on one component or multiple components of the following: sensing and inspection, mapping, and retrofit tools. Competitors will need to describe their plans to integrating their products into comprehensive service offerings through partnering or other commercialization plans. At partnering event, virtual or in person, we'll see if it's going to be in person or not, but most likely virtual, will take place during phase one to help competitors make connections with other teams and network partners. In phase two, winning competitors from phase one will take their individual components and the other required functionality to create a holistic and turnkey integrated product offering. Cooperation between competitors is encouraged in this phase. Solutions must be low cost, minimally invasive, and encompass all areas, including sensing, inspection, retrofit, and mapping, with one tool or a compatible suite of tools for addressing building envelope retrofit challenges. Applicants are required to validate their technical viability and demonstrate a path towards commercial viability. Conducting field validations on a working solution with a commercial partner, such as a manufacturer or a service provider, is highly encouraged. Next slide, please. So here's a longer description of these three solution areas. In essence, we want participants to develop sensing inspection techniques to rapidly and accurately identify envelope deficiencies, mapping techniques to accurately locate these deficiencies spatially to help the robot or robotic tool in a semi-autonomous or fully autonomous manner apply appropriate and targeted energy conservation measures. Next slide, please. So here are some of the characteristics proposed e-robot solutions should aim to achieve. We're ultimately looking for a holistic solution that in a low cost and minimally invasive fashion can access tight spaces to improve the thermal performance of the building envelope. By increasing the pace and rate of retrofits, we believe it will open up more opportunities for businesses and workers. It's also important that any solution does not negatively impact the durability of the building envelope, such as inadvertently creating moisture problems and issues. That's why we encourage teaming of robotics experts with building science experts. Next slide, please. And finally, here's a summary of the prize pool per phase and the duration of each phase. And up to 10 phase 1 winners will win $200,000 in cash prizes each, and will then be eligible to compete in phase 2. Here, a panel of experts, expert reviewers from industry, national labs, and government will evaluate these phase 1 submissions. The final decision will be based on the input from these reviewers, but determined by us at the Building Technologies Office. And then up to 4 phase 2 winners will win $500,000 in cash prizes each. Next, I'll hand it over to Sam Petty, who's going to go into more about the Connector Recognition Awards. Sam?
Hello, my name is Sam Petty. I am an ORISE Science, Technology, and Policy Fellow with the Building Technologies Office. Thank you, Sven, for starting us off there. Let's talk a little bit more about power connectors and eligibility requirements before moving into the submission requirements. Phase 1 connectors are eligible for cash awards for supporting competitors in the eRobot Prize. In the Phase 1 competition, there are 2 opportunities for connectors. Connector Recruitment Award. Connectors may be awarded $1,000 for hosting a virtual recruitment event with at least 30 attendees, or team support to both winning and non-winning teams. Connectors who provide support to eligible winning and non-winning teams may be nominated to receive a cash prize recognition award of $10,000 for supporting winning teams and up to $5,000 for supporting non-winning teams. Note that teams may nominate 1 connector per submission to receive this award. More information on connector awards can be found on the HeroX eRobot website in the connector guidelines. Competitors, please remember to nominate an American-made network connector who helped you in Phase 1 contest. As we just discussed, connectors are eligible to receive recognition awards for supporting your team in Phase 1, but must be listed in your Phase 1 submission to be eligible. You can see on the bottom of the slide a screenshot of the HeroX submission form where you will be asked to nominate a connector for award. Who can compete? So if you want to compete, we highly encourage you to do so. Basically, anyone who is a US citizen can compete, and we are looking for just about anyone with the next big idea in building retrofits. Whether you're a scientist, student, entrepreneur, somebody already working in the robotics or retrofit industry, or just someone with a big idea, we want to hear from you. Advantages to competing: win increasingly significant cash prizes, gain insightful feedback from our panel of expert reviewers, and access a network of organizations motivated to provide mentorship and connections to early stage investors and pilot partners. Although generally anyone who is a US citizen can compete in the prize, there are many specific details in the eligibility section of the rules that govern who can apply and who can't. The bullets shown here are a few examples, and we would strongly encourage you to review the rules and this section in particular as soon as possible and make sure that you and your team are eligible. Please note that non-US citizens are welcome to partner with competition teams. However, all members of the listed competition team must be legally authorized to work in the United States, and the team captain must be a US citizen or a permanent resident. Moving on to our Phase 1 contest process. In Phase 1, competitors will present an innovative idea that solves a known industry problem for building envelope retrofits. This phase is focused on proving that the solution solves a critical building envelope need, developing a concept and design, and forming a team that is capable of achieving success. The Phase 1 contest process consists of a few important steps: preparation, activation, and submission. Competitors identify and take action on a critical need in the building envelope retrofits using advanced robotics. Develop a conceptual design of the solution and strategize to build a robust team that can provide a holistic solution phase 2. Competitors can also engage the American Made Network for help and support and may attend a teaming event in phase 1. Finally, competitors complete their submission package and submit online before phase 1 of the contest closes. Assessment: the prize administrator screens all completed submissions and assigns DOE-approved subject matter expert reviewers to independently score the content of each submission. The Building Technologies Office takes into account the input from the expert reviewers and makes the final decision on all winners. The judging criteria will assess elements described in Section 7 of the rules. Approximately 60 days after phase 1 closes, the prize administrator notifies winners and requests necessary information to distribute cash prizes. The prize administrator will then publicly announce the winners. We strongly encourage both competitors and connectors to read the official rules for the eRobot prize. In the rules, you will find helpful background information, details on eligibility, prize structure, and awards, information on what to submit in your phase 1 submission, and much more. You can find the official rules at the link listed on this slide or by going to the eRobot HeroX webpage and clicking on the Resource tab. Phase 1 submission elements. The submission package will consist of a cover page, summary slide, a 90-second to 2-minute video, technical narrative, design specifications, and optional letters of commitment or support. Again, all of the following details are covered in the official rules document. If you notice in the upper left-hand corner, there is a guide for each element that we are going to cover. This will let you know if the element is required, going to be scored, and if it will be public-facing or not. Cover page will need to be kept to 1 page maximum and include the following elements listed on the slide. This will not be scored, but it will be public-facing. A summary slide is required. It will be scored, and it is public-facing. Summary slide has the following elements listed on the slide that should be included. There is a recommended template for the slide on the HeroX website. We are requiring a 2-minute maximum public-facing video that should cover some of the following: what building envelope retrofit challenge will be addressed, a description of your solution and how it works, how your solution will impact building envelope and advance the industry, and a description of your team. The video will be made public. The following 3 slides will show some of the potential questions to be answered in your technical narrative. The technical narrative to be submitted has a 5-page limit with an 11-point font size. Anything beyond 5 pages will not be reviewed. The technical narrative is required, it is to be scored, but it will not be made public. Some of the questions to consider will be: how will you validate the technical capabilities and demonstrate a path towards commercial viability of your solution in phase 2? Materials, please list materials your solution includes, along with a statement regarding their availability and durability. How are you sure that your materials will meet the 30-plus-year lifespan? Invasiveness, describe the occupant experience during the retrofit. How will your robot access the building, and how will it impact building occupants? Further potential questions to be answered: productivity, how long will it take for your robot to apply to your solution? To what area / square footage, and how easy is it to train users? What level of energy efficiency improvements are expected after applying your solution? Please quantify these metrics. Worker benefits. Does your solution offer benefits to workers such as improved safety, improved time efficiency, or increased access to areas previously unavailable? What is your plan for commercialization? What makes your team qualified to commercialize the solution? And who will you partner with to develop and/or validate your solution? Who is your target market and how do you plan to work with your stakeholders? What roles will all your partners play? What skills are on your team? And how do you plan to develop a holistic solution in phase 2 that includes a single tool or a suite of compatible tools that includes sensing, inspection, mapping, and retrofit? Design specifications are required and will be scored. They will not be made public. The design specifications have a maximum of 5 pages and should include design documents including graphics, digital drawings, technical specifications showing the design of your solution and how it works. Hand drawings and anything beyond 5 pages will not be reviewed. Letters of support are optional. They will be scored and they will not be made public. They are to be kept to 1 page maximum and will be reviewed as they pertain to your application. Moving on to how we score and determine winners. All items in the submission package that we just covered will, with the exception of the cover page, will be considered when scoring each submission. After reviewing all elements of the submission package, expert reviewers will assign a score between 1 and 6 for each of the 4 categories below, taking into account the questions described under each category. The 4 categories are innovation and impact, technical feasibility, technical validation, commercial viability, and team and partnering strategy. Rough notes on what's included in each of these categories include proposed for innovation and impact. The proposed solution presents an innovative approach to an important challenge in building envelope retrofits. The proposed solution can make a significant advancement in building envelope retrofits. The proposed solution will provide new opportunities for workers with benefits such as improved safety or increased access to previously unavailable areas. For technical feasibility, the solution is free of any major technical flaws. It is technically feasible and practically deployable. And the risks and limitations associated with the proposed solution are well understood and articulated. The solution will mitigate any underlying envelope deficiencies related to bulk moisture and vapor control and ensures durable envelopes post-retrofit. The technology can be realistically integrated into a holistic solution in phase 2. Included in the technical validation commercial viability, the applicant presents a technical appropriate test plan for validating the technical capabilities of the proposed solution in phase 2. The applicant has access to the necessary tools and facilities to complete the technical validation. And will the project create new market or business opportunities that may lead to safer, higher paying, or more jobs in the building industry? Under the team and partnering strategy, the team's track record demonstrates notable entrepreneurial qualities and has a likelihood of achieving commercial success. There are no major gaps in expertise or missing partners that may limit the success of the technology. The team's partnering strategy will advance the team's effort to develop and to commercialize the proposed solution. Once again, all of this has gone into detail in the rules document on the HeroX or American Made Challenges websites. On this slide, we list the assessment and announcement process. Expert reviewers will score the submissions based on the judging criteria. The final score from an individual expert reviewers for a submission package equals the total sum of the scores for all of the bullets. All expert reviewers' scores will then be averaged for a final score for the submission package. Approximately 60 days after the contest closes, the prize administrator notifies and announces the winners. The winners are then eligible to compete in the phase 2 contest. Important deadlines for phase 1. The phase 1 contest submission opened on November 16th, 2020. The phase 1 contest submission deadline is May 12th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Phase 1 contest winners are anticipated to be announced in July of 2021. We strongly encourage you to get your applications in early. However, if you do experience any technical difficulties while submitting your application, please email our team immediately at erobot.prize@nrel.gov for assistance. And I'm going to pass it back to Emily here to cover our HeroX website.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me just one moment to share my screen. We're going to go ahead and do a live demo of the eRobot HeroX page. Just a moment to load. All right, so this is our HeroX page. You can get to it from americanmadechallenges.org/eRobot. But really the HeroX page is where we're going to do the day-to-day of the prize. So I would like to point out just a couple items for you. First thing you want to do is click on this upper left-hand corner. This is where you're going to see your profile, messages, notifications. We will from time to time send you a message, and the prize team can also be reached from the messages portal. But if you don't already have a HeroX account, go ahead and create a profile. Then when you go to the eRobot page, you'll be able to do a couple things. You can share the challenge with a colleague or someone within your network. You can follow the challenge to get updates, make sure that you get notified of important deadlines, events, the teaming event that's been mentioned earlier. You know, this is really the hub where we're going to be sharing all of the important details. To begin your entry, you'll click on Begin Entry. I've already clicked on it. It will take you through a few extra windows. You just have to agree to the terms and conditions. It will link to the official rules. And this is where you will go to create your submission. Once you get through all of that, you'll put in a title, short description, answer some eligibility questions. Note that these all must be completed for your submission to be considered eligible. Team, you'll let us know a little bit more about your team. Let us know an official team name. This, if you win, this is the name that we're going to use on all of the announcements and put on the website. So it's really important that you put some thought into it and come up with a good team name. Let us know who's on your team. 9-digit zip code, another really important one that we'll use to base your location off of. Partners and American Made Network. Here, when we talked about the connectors and nominating a connector to receive a recognition award, this is the box that you're going to be using for that connector. If you have any doubts of if an organization that you're working with is a connector, don't hesitate to reach out or check the American Made Challenges Network main page. You can list anyone else who you worked with, connectors, affiliates, partners, whoever. And here's a link to the network if you want to search for a connector. And then the submission package. There are several items for you to upload: your cover page, summary slide, link to your video, technical narrative, design specification, optional letters of commitment or support. And then we're going to ask you for a quick classification of your retrofit component innovation. And you can check all that apply. And then when you're done, you can save and preview. I haven't filled this in, so it's not going to save for me, but you can always save and go back right up into submission, the submission deadline. And just to really underscore, get your submissions in early, leave yourself a couple days. It is no fun to be uploading a submission and then get caught up with that submission deadline. And it doesn't matter if you're in there, if you haven't hit submit, you won't be able to hit submit if you get past that 5 p.m. Eastern deadline. So get in there, start uploading things. If you run into technical difficulties, we're absolutely here to help. Shoot us an email, make sure to send it before the submission deadline. We'll show that email at the end, but it's erobot.prize@nrel.gov, or you can message us using this icon up here. So a couple other quick things to show you on HeroX. The challenge overview, it'll give you some basic information about the prize, link to our video. guidelines. Essentially, this will give you a link to the official rules and the erobot.prize email address that I just mentioned. Timeline, this is really important. We'll keep this up to date if things get moved around. However, you can see that we're here at the informational webinar, and then submission deadline is here. What we will keep up to date is when we plan to announce winners. That's right here at 1, and then the phase 2 dates, of course, as we get closer to that. So keep an eye on the timeline. Updates, if you received an update about the webinar, you got it from here. If you missed something or wanted to check up, all of the updates will be recorded here in addition to being emailed out to you. Form, if you would like to talk to other competitors who are in the prize or the community, the eRobot community, you're welcome to post public topics here. You can also ask questions of the NREL Prize Administration team. We keep an eye on the boards and we monitor them for any questions that we can answer. Community, you can check out who all has signed up to be a part of the prize. Another cool feature here is the team matching. Some of you have already started using it. You can go ahead and it's like a little Craigslist. You can say, hey, I'm looking to join a team, or I need someone to join my team, and this is what I'm looking for. So absolutely encourage you to use this feature. Resources is another really important tab. This is where you're going to find the direct links to the connector guidelines and the official rules document. And then finally, the FAQ, we'll update it with some of the questions from this webinar. But if you're wondering, what is a connector versus a power connector? Who's behind the prize? We answer that all for you here. So that is a demo of HeroX. If you ever have any questions or are struggling to do something, just reach out. We're here to help you. All right. I'm just going to transition my screen share for one moment. There we go. And now we'd like to open it up for a Q&A. I know a lot of you have been asking some really good questions throughout. If you have additional questions, we will take those now and answer them live. So feel free to enter in any questions into that chat box.
And Emily, this is Mary Hubbard from BTO. I do have a couple that we've been chatting with so far that I just want to highlight and make sure folks didn't not see the answer to. So I just want to make sure there's 2 in particular that I want to call out. But while I'm doing that, feel free to add more in the chat. So one question that came up that folks were not entirely clear of as to whether the applications we're looking for were for residential or commercial buildings. And just want to make sure that we're actually looking for both. We're looking for both applications for residential and or commercial applications within buildings. So just want to be clear on that. It could be focused towards houses, or it could be focused towards, mid to high rise. Any of that within that span is welcome. If it does have implications for, say, industrial complexes, that would be considered kind of above and beyond, if you will. So there must be at least some application for residential and or commercial. So that was one question there. Another question that we've gotten a couple times in here is around when will the prototype or engineering kind of be required, or when should it start, right? And I've responded to that a couple of times, just that phase 1, as Sven and Sam just walked us through, does not require a prototype. They are document submission requirements for phase 1, but that's just to say that you can start as soon as you want on the engineering or developing of the prototype. It's not a requirement. We do recognize that it can take longer to build the solution or modify some of the engineering than the prize durations that we've laid out today. So we're going to leave that to you all to decide when you want to get that started, but we will be looking for that integrated solution by phase 2. So just wanted to clarify those two questions that we've gotten a couple times so far. Okay, I'll take a look at the chat and see what other questions we have. So one question I didn't quite have the chance to respond to yet, are there any experts with regulations, renewable focus already in the network, regulations that span from federal to local regulations? I'm assuming we're talking about building regulations. In that case, I would say that that's exactly what we're looking to build here and bring a lot of building expertise into our network. I would say there are some probably are already a part of the network. So that would be part of the process of teaming and partnering and kind of bring those expertises together if that's something that you would like on your team. And like was mentioned, we are going to have a teaming event, so that will help to enable that, but feel free to get started using the tools and access that you have at your disposal already. Next question, could I also mention this on my resume under work experiences? I don't know, Emily, I don't know if that's something you could take. I don't know if that's a common question you've received before.
I mean, I'm sure that decision is a personal one on what to include on resumes under work experiences. Obviously, this is not a paid position. It's a prize competition.
Exactly. Okay, next question. What about retrofits for the foundations or external factors? So foundations specifically, Sven, I don't know if you wanna take that question.
Yeah, I would have to think about that some more. You know, a lot of the energy, you know, deficiencies happen at the interfaces. So there might be, you know, a wall foundation area that could be beneficial.
Great, thank you. And next question, a lot of regulations focus on inspection. Is that applicable? And I would say maybe, and ask Sven to weigh in as well, if they're inspecting kind of retrofitting of the walls or those kinds of things, there is some potential for applicability there. Sven, can you think of any other applicabilities for inspection-oriented regulations?
I'm not aware of any inspection related regulations for buildings.
Okay. Next question, if a connector supports multiple winning, I'm assuming, or non-winning teams, how are connector awards handled? Again, you know, as was mentioned. Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So in the case of a connector supporting multiple entries, as long as they're listed as long as they're that nominated connector for each entry, and that would be nominated by the team, you are welcome to support an unlimited number of applications. So if you get listed on 5 winning applications, you get 5 recognition awards. So, you know, certainly up to you and the amount of applications you want to support, but there's no limit on our side.
Okay, and then last question so far, what is the link on the HeroX site for FAQs? So we'll, if someone could maybe repost that link in the chat, it should be part of the HeroX website.
Yeah,
is that
I'm
correct,
working on that right
Emily?
now.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to send the link for the eRobot HeroX site, and I would absolutely encourage everyone to hop over there right after the webinar, sign up, follow the competition, make sure you're getting all the updates. And then on that page, if you click on the FAQ tab, that is where you're going to find a lot of that information.
Great. Well, we have a few more minutes. And any last questions? Any last questions that you have for us today? We'll be happy to take them.
again,
If
while
not,
we're waiting for a few more, yeah. Oh, I was just going to say just a couple final reminders. Absolutely encourage everyone to review the rules document, go to HeroX, sign up, you know, make sure you know the prize email, get familiar with the submission form. And yeah, that's just a couple of reminders. Mary, I think I see one more question that just came in.
Yeah, one more question. What about integrating with national labs? How do we get support started? So absolutely, national labs, you're more than welcome to reach out to them and bring them into your team, you know, work with them as part of this prize. Once you take a maybe deeper look into our connector rewards, you'll notice that we actually don't have any separate lab vouchers or anything else that you may have seen on other prizes. So that will be up to you. If you want to include them and bring them onto your team, you're more than welcome to do so, and that will be at your decision. Okay, next question, is there a limit to the number of members in a team? Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe we limited that. Emily, is that something you could confirm?
No limit.
Great.
You got it right. No, there's no limit.
Excellent. Okay, next question. Can I submit even potential research paper on this as well to conferences? Emily, I don't know that we have any restrictions on that either.
There's no restrictions. Yeah, I would say that you're welcome to.
Great. Okay. Next question. What's the most important factor for winning? Great question. We actually have multiple. And so I do recommend that you take a look at the rules document. We've laid out our objectives and some of the key metrics that we're trying to achieve here. So there are actually many important factors as far as what we're looking to achieve from the solutions under this prize. So take a look at the rules document and you'll see all of those laid out. Okay. Oh, and Jade, you were responding to Sven's question for more information. Great. Any other questions? Right. So Emily, if they have questions right after they hang up with us today, how do they get a hold of us?
Oh, doesn't that always happen? Absolutely, and thank you, Mary, for moderating the Q&A sessions. We got some really good questions, but this is not your only opportunity. Again, if you have questions right after this webinar in a month, in 2 months, feel free to reach out to us. We're at erobot.prize@nrel.gov. We're on HeroX. Make use of the forms, send us a direct message. We are here to support you. You can see where you can find some more information at energy.gov/EERE. That URL is down below. And I would like to thank all of the presenters for sharing the information today and all of the participants. Thank you so much for joining, and this concludes our webinar.